It's funny you say English, Steve, because we got a Russian. We looked on Spotify today. 0.2% of our audience is in Russia.
What's up, Russia? Comrades.
Hey, we got the shout out on the Brewery Underground podcast from Russia. That's right. And boy, howdy, 'cause we are recording. We just hit the record button, and I'm Steve. He's Scott, and
Yep.
Scott. Holy cow, man! We
I
have
know.
got a an epic episode because who's here?
We
It's the
got
Foamy Heads.
the
Mitch and Rich
Foamy
are here.
Heads. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, so excited.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to be here, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm drunk
Thanks.
already.
It's drunk o'clock somewhere, right?
Okay.
So right.
It's funny you say that because Steve and I started early too because it's opening day, so we had
Yeah.
to go watch some baseball early. So we're all kind of rolling in hot, I think.
There's
But
not a
yeah,
way.
you guys are here because we're celebrating something. We're celebrating something big. It's your 6-year anniversary of being podcasters. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Happy
Awesome.
happy 6th anniversary to the Foamy Heads.
Thank you.
And I won't say it's ironically, but your actual official date is April 20th, right? 420. Is that by accident?
No, well, yeah, I guess, yeah. It's I don't know when. It's just it flew by. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think we planned for 420, but the weather was right. That's
Yeah,
why.
it just hit.
Yeah.
Well, it's wild because Mitch and I were Mitch is I actually met Mitch through Mitch is my wife's cousin, so that's how Mitch and I got to know each other.
Great.
And we were just hanging out one day and realized that we had a love for beer, and so we started trading beer and drinking craft beer together, and that was kind of like the thing, right?
Yeah.
And this was before COVID. Like, this was before everybody went indoors and all that kind of stuff. And maybe one day we were just like, hey, let's just hit record and see what happens. And I think we were on like my old Surface tablet, Mitch, like my old laptop.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we just hit record on like, whatever the Windows recorder was and just started talking. And then we put it out there into the ethos, and that was episode 1, and it just happened to land on 420.
Well, you guys
Which is
know it wouldn't be a podcast if we're not drinking something.
Mm.
And I know we're all drinking beer tonight. I got 2 separate beers I'm drinking tonight. Now, both of these are in honor of you, but this one, Mitch, this is for you. Little
Oh,
Fate La Force
Ooh.
Yeah.
Saison here.
yum.
Yep.
They do such good saisons.
Orchestral fanfare. And Rich, I have one. I'm going to get to yours in just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Tonight it's go
Sounds
big
good.
or go home night on the podcast.
I'm
We
here
are
for that.
home, but we're still going big.
Yeah.
Okay. So Steve is not the only one drinking 2 things. Oh, no. Okay, hang on.
That's got
First
a
of all,
bottle.
it's International Whiskey Day.
Yes.
So first of all, got a little EH Taylor.
Wow.
Um,
Nice.
In celebration of you guys, and we just got 2 bottles too. I fucking love it. You guys have come to the right podcast.
Love that.
And
I had a
also,
little Buffalo Trace this afternoon.
Mm.
and also something you guys appreciate because we had this at Fay La Force. If you recognize the bottle a little bit, it's the Future Nostalgia Volume 4. I thought I picked up Volume 3 today. It's Volume 4. Guys, we had this at Fay La Force. I think we had Volume 1 and 2,
1
right,
and
Mitch?
2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Courtesy of
Volume
Mitch,
4.
actually.
Absolutely. 1 and 2. And dude, this is dank as hell.
Nice.
I don't know if the other ones were dank. It is dank. Woo. All right, but this is a celebration of you guys. So cheers to both of you. And what are you guys sipping on?
Mitch, go ahead, man.
All right. Right now, I'm drinking a Nagori sake, Takeda Junmai Nagori. Namazaki Paul introduced me to this, and the camera's having trouble. Maybe. Anyway, there you go. There's at least a label
Partial.
part.
Yep.
But 16% ABV, and it's got, I'm looking for something specific, 65% polishing ratio, and it's from Niigata. prefecture. So it's delicious as hell.
Yeah.
It's one of those sakes I would say crushable because it's it's kind of a creamier kind of sake, so it's got a little more of the flavor from the rice profile in it. So it's a good starter. And then I'm going to
Yeah.
move on to the whiskey, and then I'll meander onto a Pilsner, Zen Pilsner, and a Koji Gold Lager. And then I've got a special bottle for the very end. It's a very near and dear beer of mine from Southern Grist. So I believe it's called Cordially Yours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
All
knew
right.
But I hope
exactly
it's
what that
aged
was.
well. Yeah, I hope it's aged well.
Mitch, is it the barrel version? Is it the barrel aged version or just the regular?
No, old ale.
Okay. We'll see.
But it's a cocktail inspired kind of beer, so I'm a little worried about how it's aged. That's why it's last, and also because it's reminiscent of my favorite beer from the craft world that I've encountered.
You got you a nice vertical for the night.
I do. I'm already feeling it. So
There you go.
I'm ready.
I can't wait till the end.
Mitch is gonna be
Rich.
fucked up. No, you gonna make me follow that? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Like, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
I can't.
We gotta
I
know.
literally can't.
You popped on and you had a nice dark beer to start with when you
I
popped
did,
on.
and I'm gonna tell you this. Let's see. Let me turn off. This is all that's left. Like there's like just a few sips. It's been a day to say the least.
Nice.
And so I am drinking currently let's see if I can see. I'm drinking the KBS chocolate espresso right now. So this one, I KBS has always had a special place in my heart. And I remember back in like East Nashville Beer Festival when like that would be like the one festival at East Park where founders would release KBS into the Nashville area. They would always do it at East Nashville Beer Festival, and they would always line up. There was a time people would line up and people would get it. That was the days, Mitch knows this, that was the days when like they'd release a beer in breweries and people would like line up to get it and stuff like that. Now everybody has that one beer, right? That only releases once a year, and like it's kind of saturated, but for whatever reason, KBS has always had a special place in my heart. But I actually never even knew about variants until about a couple of years ago. And the chocolate espresso one, for whatever reason, Scott, we talk about this like all the time. It's like an uncontended contest. It's between like chocolate espresso and double oaked are like the two that are close to me to the top. But tonight's chocolate espresso, we did a happy hour on Instagram Live a couple of weeks ago where I think I did two back to back, and because they're not, I mean, Mitch is drinking sake and, he's drinking the high gravity stuff too. And Scott's drinking E.H. Taylor, but the KBS espressos are 12%. So honestly, I'm just going to ride on these all night. Like I've got a couple of those, and then I've got some Stone West Coast IPAs that I think I might switch to if my palate ends up like kind of getting destroyed a little bit, or I want something hoppy. So my plan tonight throughout all this is KBS and Stone double IPAs.
Yum.
Rich, I won't spoil my surprise then, or I'm going to spoil my surprise. So here it is for you, my friend. I got KBS, the original.
Look at
the
you.
OG.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Baby.
Yep.
When are you popping that one, Steve?
I'm going to be popping that one in a few minutes.
Okay.
So, yep.
I think, and Mitch, I don't know, can we all speak and say like KBS is fucking high on all of our list. It is. I'm a huge fan of it, and all the variants. And we live in a town. Well, at least Nashville, like Main Street Liquor. We've talked about this a few times. They've got so many variants over there. It's crazy. I walked through there today, and I'm like, I've had them all, and they're all delicious. Which ones am I getting? I'm a little more selective now in which ones I'm going to get, but they've got them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew when we were talking about doing this podcast that, we've talked about KBS over the last few weeks, and I'm like, I got to get a KBS. And I had some, a while back, and that was the one that I could find locally. So I was trying to hunt around for some others. So, but hey, guys, before we get deeper into the conversation, we got a couple of surprises for you guys tonight, right, Scott?
Okay. Boy,
we do. We've got a few surprises. We're gonna pop them out. We're gonna do one here in a second. I've got a couple more throughout the episode, as long as we can remember to do them. Right. so you guys have made a lot of friends in the beer community, and so we invited a few of them to say hello and happy anniversary too. So what we've done is we've broken them up. We got a few videos that we're going to put along the way. And anyway, they're all about 1 minute total, minute and change. So anyway, I'm going to share my screen, and bear with us a minute. Hopefully this works. Steve and I did a dry run early and it worked. So we tried this. All right, bear with us. And when the video goes, again, it's about a minute and change. So let's start here.
Awesome.
Let's see if this works. All right, let's see. Drive. Share my screen. Okay. You see my screen?
Not yet.
Coming through in a minute.
Hang on. Let me try again. Hang on. We'll cut this out. Okay, I got it. Let's see this. You seeing it? See my screen?
There it comes.
Okay. All right. Let it go.
Mitch, Rich, happy 6th anniversary, fuckers.
How's it going? I was asked to chime in here and talk about how wonderful you are and how great human beings you are, but I don't want to lie to people. Yeah. Nah, Mitch, Rich, you guys are great. Love having a beer with you, smoking cigars, just talking BS. You guys are wonderful. Congratulations on 6 years and hopefully many, many more to come. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of beers, and hopefully many more coming our way. Best of luck to you guys. All right. Take care. Bye.
All right. Hey, guys, this is LeBron at Common John Brewing Company. I just want to give a shout out to the guys over at the Foamy Heads. Happy anniversary. We look forward to many more years of you guys spreading the craft beer love, and hope that you come down to Common John pretty soon. We can share a beer. Cheers.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Incredible. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the first of 3. So we're going to go a little ways, and we're going to pop out the next 3. Then we're going to pop out the next 3. So
Man.
I'll just say the minute we asked everybody, they couldn't say yes fast enough. So that's a tribute to you guys.
Man, can I jump in real quick, Scott? All the
I lost you. Yeah, we lost the audio, Rich. We can't hear Rich.
No.
Rich is gone.
There you are.
Rich is back. There you are back.
Okay. I literally did nothing, but okay, whatever.
No, we missed right from the beginning. So start if you want to start from the beginning.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, it's just, I mean, we've known those guys for quite a long time, and whether it's just the beer community, people showing up to drink beer, or whether it's, brewers themselves, and Shane with House of Dogs and LeBron with Common John, it's just, it's that's a cool experience to be able to see. And we know all those guys personally, and we respect the hell out of every single one of those guys too. Mm-hmm. So that means a lot. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
I'll say the feeling is mutual to you guys too. So
sure.
We got some more coming, and we try to reach out to as many as we could kind of find, and listening to your podcasts and things, and trying to find people that we knew kind of thing. So if we missed anyone, apologies, but we did. But anyway, so
no, you've already exceeded. That's
thank
so
you.
Surprising.
That's awesome.
Like, thank you. That's
thank
awesome.
You. All right, no, we got to remember to do the next 2.
We'll try to.
We're drinking more beer as this goes on, so we're gonna have to. I think between the 4 of us half brains, we can remember it.
We might be able to.
Surely.
We might be able to.
That was Steve's thing initially. He goes, "Yeah, we just got to remember."
Yeah, we got to remember. How are we gonna do that? Yeah.
Every time we remember, we take a drink, right?
That's right. So guys, thanks for being on with us too. Like we're looking forward to kind of doing this and kind of celebrating you guys, and we're gonna have a little bit of an interview process, but you know how we get. We're gonna go off on tangents and shit. But let me ask you this before we get too far: where does the Foamy Heads name come from?
Oh yeah,
here.
Yeah,
it is a great name.
It's a fun one. It didn't just come up in we didn't just create it with our minds or anything. we were thinking of a few other variations of names, but this one just kind of fits so easily and into, I guess, our previous generation or the generation before us. They ran Big Foamy Head, and the creator of Big Foamy Head is my boss even now. And so we're both craft beer heads, and it wasn't part of the interview process, but day to day, we would eventually have a couple beers through the week to talk about, how the day went and everything, just to cool off at the end of the day kind of deal. So when we learned we both like craft beer, really connected the dots. So then I decided I was going to run my own podcast. And when I found out that Rich was also a beerhead, craft beerhead, the dots and planet stars, whatever, started aligning. And I think we went through, I'm trying to think some of the old names that you and I batted back and forth, but it's been too long for me to really remember what they were. And we just ended up with the Foamy Heads in inspiration of the Big Foamy Head, and it was a solid name, really.
It is.
So
It is.
we ran with that, and it's been a wild journey from then, because once you got the name, you start running. You get super excited, and you're just like, all right, let's go.
Yep. You come up with logos. You guys have a great logo too. That's all part of it.
Well, that wasn't the original logo, was it, Mitch? I think we had something originally, and then your idea was we wanted to go something more based, like circular, kind of a bottle cap type thing, and then that's where the logo came out, where we had a little bit more simplistic.
Yeah, this was 2019, probably, roughly, when we were coming up with ideas, and bottle cap and whatever I could kind of relate. Everyone has a glass. Everyone has, it's just like, what can you do to try and differentiate it? Bottle cap isn't it, but that's what it landed on, just for a simple circular kind of format. And it right down to the cutting, I guess what is it? The final products, we just trimmed out the bottle cap lines, because it just, just zero in on the font and call it good. The only thing we've missed these 6 years is adding in the word podcast.
I don't think you need it though. You guys are defined already. You know what I mean? And what's great too is in listening to some of your episodes, and it's a lot of them, and I don't know if it's on purpose or what, but you guys will pour a beer right early on, and somebody will say that's a good foamy head, or that's a nice foamy head, and I don't know if that's on purpose because of the name, or if that just kind of naturally comes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on purpose. Mitch is pretty much the guy that kind of keeps everything in line, because I'll just start going off on something. I'll drink something, and Mitch is really good with we'll call it constructive criticism, right? Because like after the fact, he'll be like, "Hey, that was awesome." He goes, "I think what worked," because we did it one time, Mitch. Like we did it at the beginning, the whole like, "What are we drinking?" kind of thing. Like it started out as we were just, drinking beer or whatever, we were making jokes, and all of a sudden, and then I was like, well, what are we drinking? And then Mitch just got the idea. It was like, that was the starting point. Like everything prior to that's like a cold open. So that started the whole, like, okay, this is like the format that we should follow. It's what are we drinking? And then after that, and then he goes, okay, now let's talk about the nose. Then let's talk about, the foamy head and the look. And then we get into the taste. And so and we deviate from time to time, but like the conversation always comes back to what's in your glass, right? And that's kind of why like the handle that we have is we discuss craft beer and anything that accompanies a glass. And so that allows us to expand to cigars, or to expand to whiskey or bourbon or something like that. But it's always about like the structure, the foamy head comes first, and then the nose, and then the taste, and then, stuff like that. So, and while we deviate from time to time, we try to stick to that format. But the whole, like, if the more you can talk about foamy head, like the easier it gets ingrained into your brain, and it's just easier to say. And then the more it's something to connect to when somebody else is listening, or when they're enjoying a beer with you.
Yeah. Marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And anyone who's ever poured a beer gets a foamy head. I mean, it's brilliant. It really is.
Do you guys think that you've changed much as far as like the way you drink beer and sake and things like that from the time you started? Has that evolved, or has that just kind of stayed the course since you guys started doing the podcast 6 years ago?
Go ahead,
Kick
Mitch.
it off,
Do you have
Rich. All
something?
right.
Okay, go ahead. I'll follow you.
Well, for me, when I first kicked off on the podcast, I definitely took it a lot more seriously, a lot more rigid, And after 2 years, when you talk to so many people and they're super relaxed about everything on the subjects of craft beer, you learn to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think now we're pretty loose, but everything is so secondhand or off the cuff that we don't have to think about it anymore. So we're just hyper comfortable, I think, with it. And I really the only difference is the level of excitement of meeting new people and even seeing what everyone else has going on a year later, from because a year goes by so quick, feels like yesterday when we talked to them. So what do you have going on now? That's just every time it's like a jet fuel for us. I feel like, it's just what's new, because holy shit, I thought it was yesterday we talked to you, but here we are again. Let's talk and get into it. What do you got going on? It's always a pure excitement, pure joy thing. I don't know, trying to think of the right it at first it was like, for me, a level of stress that was healthy, and now it's a level of just friendship, camaraderie, and fellowship. So
and I'll echo that. It was just the ability I had when we started this whole thing. I was honed in on one style of craft beer. Like I was a hophead. That's what I liked. I liked IPAs, and like, to me, if it wasn't an IPA or if it wasn't like a stout, then I really didn't want to drink it. But like, Mitch has a bigger palate than that. Mitch is more on like the crispy boy Pilsner side and like the sour and the funky beers. And when we started this whole thing, my mind was kind of closed off to all that. And I think, Mitch, I think it was our recording with Ryan with Living Waters, where we did they canned their first sour. Multnomah, I think, was their first sour that they ever canned. And it was one of the first sours I drank. And I was like, okay, this actually is more than just tolerable. It's good. And that's where my mind opened up. So when you asked the question, like, has your mind kind of changed a little bit as you started all this? Yes, because now I'm drinking crispy boy pilsners, and I'm more open to trying sours, and I understand what kind of sours I like. And that's in addition to IPAs, in addition to stouts. But even more than that, I'm finding that, putting a rating on Untapped just based on what I feel is the best way to rate a beer may not always be the best way to go about doing something, because just because I may not necessarily go for, Italian Pilsners all day long doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad beer. It just means that it's not my style that day.
Right.
And there's ramifications to rating something low just because you're not in the mood for that beer that day, or that you're not into that style. So my mind has opened up a lot more since we've started all this, because every time we talk to somebody, Untapped always comes up, and it always ends up being a point of contention. So
and it really should be, because we, the four of us, are consumers first. We are beer drinkers and consumers first. This thing that we do is a side thing. We drink first. So for the Untapped thing, we can get into more of it later. Do a deep dive into Untapped, but that's kind of how we rate it, because we are drinkers first, and then this kind of comes along, secondarily. You know what I mean? And then we all know how breweries think about Untapped too. So that's which is, we understand it. We understand it a hell of a lot more now than before we started the podcast. But we are consumers at the same time. So, but to Rich's point, yes, I've learned that don't rate something shitty because you don't like the style. That's
right. That's the biggest takeaway, I think.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And Rich, going back to what you were saying, I was the opposite when we started this podcast. I wasn't that much of an IPA guy. I didn't drink that many IPAs. I drank, other, stouts and lagers and or things like that. And then when we started getting a lot of these brewery owners on, I mean, the passion that they have for what they do and talking about it, and I would listen to them and I go, man, I got to open up my mind a little bit more, and open up my palate a little bit more. Sometimes you just become the consistency of like, well, I drink this, so I'm going to stay with that. And Scott, he's Mr. IPA, and I would listen to him back and forth with some of these guys that we'd get on, and I'd be like, I need to appreciate this more. and about a year and a half later, now I do. I mean, we were out at some breweries over the weekend, this past weekend, and New Heights had a couple of IPAs there, and I know, now that we do beer trades, I get a lot of IPAs sent to me, and
you can't escape it. You cannot escape it. If you're trying to hide from IPAs, they will find you and they will seek you out.
Well, seek me out. No, but I like them. Even the other night, you may have seen me rated on Untapped. I checked in the Midwest IPA from Great Lakes, which is more of a West Coast, and 6 months ago, a year ago, I would have tasted that thing and put it down and said, I don't want any more of it. And I had it the other night and I said, okay, now I'm starting to even come around to this style. Some of the other ones, New England and the hazies and things like that.
Yeah.
I've been there for a while. So it's kind of cool. I think, as you said, once you get to know some of these brewery owners and understand their passion, I think that brings it more into play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rich, can you speak to that on sours? Because we know you some, we've drank with you. I've listened to many of your, if not all of your episodes, and there's this progression of I don't like sours. I don't like sours. This sour is good. This sour is good. So maybe you're somewhere you parallel to Steve on those IPAs to your sours.
Yeah. You're
I know
you're the first person that's brought up that actually. Yeah, and in all fairness, like I was waiting for somebody to ask me that question because it's the definition of putting your foot in your mouth, right? And when it started, and I'll blame Mitch all day for this because and we joke about this all the time, but when I first got into the quote unquote craft beer scene, for me it was what were we drinking? We were drinking like Land Shark, and we were drinking like Blue Moon and Killian's Irish Red. Like, and don't get me wrong, like those are by definition craft beer, right? But it's for me, it was like, what could I find at Kroger? What could I find at Publix for $7 a 6-pack or whatever? That was what I drank for craft beer, red ales, and easy drinking stuff. And it was New Year's Eve way back in the day, and Mitch came over and he brought this thing called Yazoo Embrace the Funk. And I had never heard of it before. And I was like, oh,
of course Mitch did.
Yeah. Yeah. Mitch was like light years ahead. Like he's in today's world, like back then, right? And it was a New Year's Eve. I think it was a New Year's Eve party, Mitch. Yeah. And he brought over this beer and he was like, oh, you like craft beer, you should try this. And I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but it was
it was a gamble, man. It was a big gamble.
100% a gamble. And it was a funk beer. Like it was a funk fest beer. And I took a sip of it and I was like I couldn't. Like I just couldn't do it. It was like and no disrespect to Brandon, because that guy probably makes some of the best sour beers in the game. Like, and we are blessed as Nashville to be able to have Brandon Jones in this city and in his Embrace the Funk program. But I just, at the time, I wasn't ready for it. Right. So that was my palate. That was my understanding of what sour beers were. They were funky. They were like really hard to consume.
Well, the only thing you had to go on was my poor definition of it too, where I was just like, it's a Flanders Red. It's a sour beer.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
I didn't know what that was. Like
no one did. Yeah.
No, flavors. Like I said, Mitch has been ahead of his time for literal years. This was back in like the mid 20 teens.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
Scott, when you're asking me, like, it's like, what does that progression look like? That was the definition of a sour in my head, which it was. But and maybe this didn't exist back then, but like now you've got kettle sours, and now you have fruited sours. Like Southern Grist is probably one of the best examples of a fruited sour in the Nashville scene, right? They're not really sour. They're more like,
I agree.
they're tart, right? And as you talk to these people, these breweries, they are super obsessed with their sours. And I just never understood that. And Ryan from Living Waters was literally the first person we had on our show when we started pivoting to talking to breweries. And he was like, "Yeah, we're doing a sour tonight." And like it was Multnomah. I think it was a kettle sour, if I'm not mistaken, Mitch.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was at that point that I realized that not all sours are created equal. Like not everything is super funky. It's not like, hurts the back of your mouth, and it's not like skunky and stuff. Like sours can have lots of flavors. And I personally have found kettle sours and fruited sours to be like that's my base. I like fruited sours because they're more tart than anything, and I can handle tart all day long. I don't like funky, I like tart. And then kettle sours, it's kind of like more of a step towards that funky, but it's not quite tart, but it's got a little bit more of like it hurts the back of your mouth when you take a sip.
Yeah.
But it's not super funky. It's a good segue into what you might want to try something next. So that's kind of where I stop personally.
Where do you put those barrique sours? And you know what I'm talking about because we know how damn good they are.
Yeah. So I
those
respect
barrel aged, those
Yeah.
barrel aged kind of in like wine barrels and stuff.
It's, to me, that's a separate category, right? Like Barrique probably has the best sour game right now in Nashville. Like if you had to, and Mitch probably could speak more to this than me because he's more comfortable with these sours, but like if I were to put two sour games next to each other in Nashville, it would be Brandon's ETF and it would be Barrique's sour program. Like they're two completely different styles, but they're very good at their master of crafts.
Tennessee they lucked out with both sides of that house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. I also will give, credit to both of them for their clean beers they have on site too. They are radically different, but they do everything perfectly.
Mhm.
Whatever they set out to do for that style, you're gonna get it, and it's gonna taste incredible. And I can't get enough of that. The cask ales at Barrique when they have them, and even the changes of clean beer they have there. I've typically Barrique's whole thing. I really love the fact that you can buy their sour beers, pop them, share them with people, but then you can order the clean beers as well, and you can just have a whole little evening of an experience.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So Barrique they're doing it right. They're doing it right.
They sure
and
are.
Yazoo is for some reason, I still consider Yazoo kind of a hidden secret, even though they've been around longer than a lot of the breweries here. But it's people are missing out on Yazoo, even if they've been here a long time.
I think part of that is if you don't go to Yazoo, you don't realize some of the other stuff, or you don't, if you find the regular stuff, the Gerst and Dos Paris stuff, all great stuff, right? But you go there, you find this, right? Or you find the Embrace the Funk stuff. That's a whole nother game, man.
It is. They have a
really
real
is.
hidden game there. Even the tap menu, they have some experimentations there on saisons, pale
with that pilot
ales,
series they do.
Yes. It is incredible. And Nashville's just such a hot ticket for a craft beer head, in my opinion. And if you hit those two alone, you've had a day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I was thinking about that the other day, that when you look at all the breweries just in the Nashville area, the diversity that they all do, they're all different. All of them have, in my opinion, they all have good beer and good beer selections depending on what you want. But it's very rare that you can go to a brewery in Nashville and just walk in there and not find something that you like. And it's incredible. I think it's incredible. I really do.
It's a really good problem to have.
It is.
Scott, what's that? If you don't mind me asking, I'm trying to remember the name of that sour that you've got
there, because we had that when we did a collaboration episode when we were at Fate La Force one time.
Yeah, so Future Nostalgia.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I swear I grabbed a volume 3 because they had it on the shelf today. I actually picked up volume 4. They have volume 3 out there. I thought I must have grabbed the bottle next to it. But so the 4 of us had volumes 1 and 2 that Mitch brought. 3 and 4 apparently are out now too. So.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what.
I've got them in my fridge.
Do you?
Yeah.
By the way, that Saison from Fate La Force is pretty damn good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember. Do you guys remember if the nose on volumes 1 and 2 were dank? I don't remember. I can't remember that part.
I don't remember that.
Not heavily dank.
No,
I don't remember that.
It doesn't taste it, but man, it's which is good.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
So run through that flavor profile. What is that? Is it more like, because I don't remember those being super like funky. Those were really pleasant and really easy to drink.
It really is. They're not sour at all. You kind of think maybe sour, and I'm mixing it with whiskey here. So it's
Hey,
I'm following it. I'm not mixing. I'm following it.
It's called a cuvee.
I hate that word. It's such a terrible word. It's such a pretentious word. And that's exactly why Mitch said it.
Mitch is wearing it on his shoulder.
Yeah, Mitch did it on purpose because he knew exactly what he's doing there.
Dude, I would say I'd say it's a little dry, like kind of a dry wine kind of thing. It's got a little bitterness. It's maybe slightly sour.
Okay.
But on the nose is really dank again. It's really nice, but it's not sour. Again, like you said, it's not sour.
So wild. That's wild. Yeah.
It is. It's fucking good. And Mitch, you got a couple of them, so you'll be into it.
I'm excited. I can't remember. I usually buy things in pairs, so I think I've got a couple. And A, I forgot about them, and B, I typically store to share. So I've been behind on my intake of the craft stock.
And here's what it says. It actually says it's a golden ale, so that kind of makes sense with buckwheat. Actually, I said buckwheat with buckwheat.
Oh hell yeah!
Buckwheat, centennial hops, and fireweed honey, fermented with a single Nashville yeast strain. So
sounds great.
Interesting. So, do you guys know the difference? Like, what is difference between volume 1, 2, 3, and 4? I don't
know what the volume thing's about, but I'm assuming that there may be a base, and it's an exploration of ingredients upon a base, but I haven't looked. Once I had 3 and 4, I was going to look deeper into it, but that plan fell apart, you know.
And if you never look it up, it doesn't matter. If you drink them and enjoy them, that's all that matters ultimately.
Yes. The first ones blew us away. I know that for sure. So I just knew 3 and 4 was going to be something else too. So
we had such a good time drinking them, didn't we, Steve? At Phalef? Oh my God, it was so good.
I mean,
and an unexpected surprise too. Mitch pulls them out of his bag and like, "Let's go, boys."
Mitch always does that. That's the thing. Is well, you know, it's he's the equivalent of like Steve Jobs or Tim Cook's one more thing at the end of the episode, right? It's like just when you think he's ready, it's like volumes 1 and 2 or fucking Malort. Like he'll bring Malort to
that was his next best thing. It was like, hey guys, one more thing.
Try this. I'm like, what?
I'm a hidden feature in most OSs, so you know.
It's funny though, because I would love to know what you guys, as far as like over the years when you've seen, you know, or even over the past year. So we've seen like Zool's PB&J mixtape come about. You know, the Southern Grist does the peanut butter and jelly, strawberry jelly hill. I think Marvel Fox does one. But you have all these variations like chili beers. You got pickle beers. I mean, do you guys draw the line on any of that stuff when you walk in together and you see it and you're going, I'm going to get this on a flight? Or where is your line of demarcation, or do you have one?
Go ahead, Mitch. Talk about the pickle beer.
Come on, man.
That's a good question. Well, it's I guess two scenarios in my head pop up. It's can art versus taps. And taps, I
Okay.
will more likely get a flight of smaller pours for those kind of beers because I don't know if I can do a whole pint of like most of that. When I was younger, absolutely. The 20s was just a debauchery of adjuncts, you know. Um, there's some pickle beers I like, and there's one in Atlanta that was killer for once. I could not believe it. But um, if it's too light of a beer and pickled, I will not like it. I don't know
Yeah,
what's up with that, but I'm also not a clamato person. I'm not a,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's just not. I don't know what makes me tick with the pickling and dill situation with beers, but
sure.
Does it matter
pa-
the style, Mitch? Does it matter what the style
well,
is?
the wildest thing for me would be pastry stouts. I used to love them, and then I directly went the other direction at some point,
Yeah,
where they became too sweet or overly strong for a while. So I on the sweetness or uh, sometimes it could be like from the barrel aging process and it's like supposed to be the prime time to drink it, but I like to age it off and just a little bit. But pastry stouts are kind of hard for me to handle nowadays. They're just too sweet. There's too much going on. And I found myself gravitating towards Europe, like more European beers, Belgians, quads, and even old ales from around. You know, it's weird. Pastry has taken a deep dive, no
yeah.
matter what it's a part
Yeah.
of, as well as lactose. I usually stay away from lactose now, but other than that, you know, the weirdest stuff I'm still not scared of are like slushy style beers. That's
Like
a
that
whole
450
style I
North.
haven't. Yeah, yeah. Gosh, 450. Like when we first saw 450 North's tap room, it was like IPAs and a few slushies, and then the next time we went, 80% slushies. It's like, oh shit, what's happening? There's been a
Yes.
change. They found a money maker, and I didn't realize
Uh-huh.
it was that popular. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nothing's off the table. Just to circle back to that, I don't think anything's off the table. I'll try it once.
Yeah.
How about you,
Um,
Rich?
Oh, I will 100% draw a line for certain beer categories.
Mhm.
I For me, it's I don't so pickle beers off the table for me. It's not really my thing. Um, the only cinnamon is kind of a turn off for me. Like if it
Oh.
has a little bit of cinnamon, then I'm okay with
Mhm.
it. I feel like cinnamon is a good adjunct that if you age it, then it'll kind of diminish over time and it can add some good flavor to it. But if you release a beer instantly and it's got cinnamon in it, there are certain breweries in Nashville that are very prevalent and love brewing with cinnamon, and they do it very well. Don't get me wrong. It's not to say that it's not, a good style of beer, but when you put cinnamon in a stout, like for me, it has to be done a certain way. It has to add to the experience. It can't be like it can't be the star of the show for me.
mm,
So, um, pickle beers, not really my thing. We did an interview with a brewery in Atlanta, where they did a hot pickle beer, and it was like a spicy pickle. That was the one we were kind of referring to, and it was a very easy
Kelly's
drinking.
Death Pickles.
Kelly's Death Pickles. Yeah. So it was a very easy drinking style lager beer, and it was just like overloaded with like really hot, spicy pickles. And Mitch was just jonesing on it all the afternoon. He was drinking it. He loved it. He got it in a flight, and then he went back and ordered a whole like pour of it, and just loved it. And me, I could barely. Not that it's a bad beer. It wasn't my thing. And so for
It was
me,
habanero, I think, too.
it was super spicy. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
for me, the line is spicy beers, pickle, and spicy beers. And then if there's too much cinnamon, I will probably try the cinnamon stouts, um, because there's breweries in Nashville that can do it really well. Living Waters is one of them. Ryan is really good at putting adjuncts in his barrel-aged stouts. He loves his cinnamon. So I typically have to let his sit for a little longer before I can enjoy it. But when I do, it's the right amount of cinnamon for me. So, oh yes.
Yeah.
I agree, man. Just a little bit of that cinnamon goes a long way. You saw that?
Yep.
I saw your board. I was like,
love it.
Look at that foamy head.
Love it. No, I had a what was it from Hoppin' Frog, and I had a spicy pickle beer in the can sent to me, and I took
I think that was Distill.
What's that?
That was Distill.
Distill, that's right. It was Distill,
yeah.
not Hoppin' Frog. It was Distill, and I had 2 sips of it, and I said, I'm out. I can't drink any more of this, man. It's just too bad.
Hoppin' Frog is a whole different category, though. You spend $14 for a can of Hoppin' Frog, and I feel like you're left disappointed. Yeah. Their beer's not bad, but I feel like it's a little overpriced for it's not finished almost.
Right. We can go back to KBS. I can get a KBS for $7. In comparison is a fucking deal, right?
Yep.
Hey Scott,
and enjoyed a lot more.
Hey Scott, speaking of KBS, should we take a KBS break and maybe do a little more tributes here?
Do you want to do another tribute?
What do you think?
You guys up for another tribute? All right. Okay.
With you, Steve.
Let me crack. We're gonna take a KBS commercial break, but let me get my KBS out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Rich, you know which KBS I busted out. We're going double oak, baby.
Nice, good man.
I like to picture my KBS in a tuxedo and.
All right, guys. All right, let's see if I can figure this. I'm getting drunker as we go, so let's see if I can figure this out. All right,
this is getting more difficult.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Thank God we've only got 3. All right, let's do this. All right, let's see. Screen. All right, we're gonna do. Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah.
Don't put pressure on your guy, Steve.
I've moved on to the Koji Gold. And that's what's providing the big foamy heads. So good job, Southern Grist. Good job, Proper Sake.
There you go.
Yes. All right, I'm going to hit the share button, and we're going to go and go.
Michelle. Oh.
Hey, Mitch. Happy 6th anniversary. Congratulations. Cheers.
Good people there.
What's up, world? It's your boy, the Bitter Brother, and congratulations, Big Rich and Mitch. I love the rhyme of the names, and I love y'all's brand, the Foamy Heads. Congrats on 6 years. Hope that 60 more years coming up soon. We're talking beer, having good conversation, and a great experience. So, as always, I'm here to help you guys. Let's celebrate, man. Come by the brewery. We'll hook you up, all that good stuff. Come see me.
Yes.
Congrats, boys.
Yeah.
For real. For real this time. Hey, guys. Happy 6th anniversary. We appreciate all that you guys do for the beer community. Robert's a man of few words, but he makes really good beer. So cheers from Cedar Glade. Cheers. Here's to another 6 years. So we wish him 10 years. Yeah, at least 10. As long as your livers can hold out. That's how long. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
Got my hand in the way.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Titans, man. That's awesome. Shout out to all this. I love Michelle is great, man. She's she's a good person in the beer community and really is a positive vibe for what sometimes can be a negative thing. Like people can typically focus on the style of beers they like, and they can typically tend to trash other styles of beers they don't. Michelle has never been that person. She's always been that shining light in the beer community. So, and she's good people. And Kramer, man, I mean, he was the OG. I mean, we've been rocking with Kramer for a while, and Cedar Glade, man, just Robert and Jonathan. I mean, those guys are great.
Man.
It was funny. The Michelle one. We I don't know who I was with necessarily, but we went into Crazy Gnome, and they were leaving and we were coming in, and she walked up and she goes, "Hey," so they hung out longer, and I go, "Hey, by the way."
Nice.
And then Ben goes, he was the first guy. Ben goes, "Yeah, I know the Foamy Heads." I go, "Okay, well, fucking do it if you know
Oh,
them."
Ben, man.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah, Ben's a riot every time, man.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Cedar Glade, not to bring up a bad memory that happened just recently.
Well, then don't.
But
No, dude, please.
Can we talk about it? Because you guys, you did a dry January episode
Oh hell.
at Cedar Glade, and poor Mitch. I'm listening to it, and I was actually worried about you, even though I probably would have heard if something happened to you. But I was like, I'm listening to it, going, I feel for this guy. I wasn't laughing at you. I was feeling the pain, man. Tell us what happened from both of your perspective. What happened that day when you guys were doing a dry January episode from Cedar Glade?
I'll kick it off real quick. So the night previous, there was Foxton Izakaya popping up at Proper Sake. So I decided to go there that night and support the ramen scene, all the noodle heads out there, Foxton. And I love Proper Sake, so I was having sake. I shared some sake, or helped share sake, and had ramen, and then kicked the night off basically with sake. And then I started switching to beer. Then we jumped to a bar. I had cocktails there, came back to Proper Sake, met up with Rich, and we, I guess, hit a few beer halls and had some food. And then it was time for podcast in the morning. And we decided, 10 a.m. is a great start time. And I didn't really know what to expect with non-alcoholics or non-alcoholic beverages now. There's so many options now that makes everyone comfortable to be together. And it's incredible. But I was just thinking maybe we'd hit athletic beer or some other like NA beers or something. And they brought out the works. They were ready. They have so much going on in offerings there, and it's incredible. But the mushroom ones just did not sit well with me for that episode. Outside critiques, Richard, before I proceed.
No, I think you nailed it. It was you were cruising pretty well the night before, right? And hey, to Mitch's credit, I mean, it's not like he was going hard. It's just we're 40 now, and we're in our late 30s, early 40s, and having a couple of beers, and I think we went to bed around like midnight or 1 a.m. and we got up and we're not hungover really. It was just kind of like, all right, let's go do this. But like the alcohol hadn't quite left our system. And if anybody knows anything about, Jonathan, he's just like Cedar Glade. He's one of the owners, and he's got a schedule, man. He knows what he's going to do. And we've talked with him and Robert, the head brewer, like we've talked with him twice. And with him, it's one of those like we came prepared on what we were going to do, but we threw it to him. It's like, we have something in mind, but it's kind of up to you. What do you want to do? And he was like, we should do mushroom spritzers. And I was like, okay, let's do mushroom spritzers. And it's just like he had a plan and he rolled with it. And he's one of the easiest guys to talk to, right? Because you don't have to, he can lead the show. And we can literally just sit back and just listen and absorb all that information. But that day it was mushroom beers. It was like, if you're going to have dry January, you're going to feel good regardless. And that was kind of like his mindset. So if you're not going to drink alcohol, you're going to have some reishi mushrooms to go along with it. And that just didn't work well with Mitch, I guess.
Well, yeah, it didn't. I don't know what it was. I already have kind of a sensitive stomach. As I get older, it gets worse. But I remembered my I guess I'll say mid to late 20s training of overindulgence to apply to the situation. So whenever I was having these issues and stir-ups, I just know you got to disrobe halfway before you can start the process and the purge. So kept it clean, man. Kept it clean.
what I loved about that episode, I didn't mean to catch up, but you fucking finished. You came back.
Mitch is not a quitter, man. Mitch doesn't
I'm
quit.
not a quitter.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Nope. And by the way, if you listen to the episode, that wasn't the last drink of the day.
Nope.
Actually,
it was really tough to power through anything in the later half. That was tough. I was taking sips, so I definitely didn't make it for all intents and purposes, but I at least tried them and kept going.
A tip of the cap to you, my friend, because I'm not sure. I was sitting there listening to that, going, "What if that had been me? Would I have been able to power through? I would have tried, you know." Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to get out more than I was about to put back in, so that way I'd have, at least a little bit of resistance and I could keep it going. But
See,
and the later offerings were so awesome. It's so good, and I wish I could have had more.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. Is Mitch and I had opposite experiences that day. Like Mitch was, he was powering, he was struggling to get through the latter half because of what happened in the first half. I was going through the first half going, I know there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like we had talked to Robert beforehand, and that's why the 2-part episode came in. It's like the first part is kind of like a damp January where it's like, or a dry January where it's like no alcohol, but like the next part is going to be great. So I'm just waiting for that. So by the time that came around, let's go. I was ready.
Yeah,
I was ready to go. Poor Mitch, like couldn't just, he wanted to get there, but the first part kind of messed with him a little bit.
Yeah, man. The dry January got me, and I really wanted to participate on the moist January.
Had you guys tried this?
Such a jarring word.
I'm gonna let that sit there.
No, Steve, you can ask your question, but real quick. First of all, listen to their podcast, the Foamy Heads podcast, because there are so many goddamn phrases that come out of some of these episodes, and we've mentioned to them. Cat piss, green onions came out from one the other day. Like, you just listen to, you find all these random.
And somehow that's a good flavor description. That's what I don't understand. Yeah,
you're like, it's not a bad cat piss, green onion thing. It's a good cat piss, green
onion. Somehow.
Cat piss just means territorial. So
No.
But you guys made it like you guys made it like I think I should try that. I don't like cat piss, but
cat piss sounds interesting. Let me try.
Like, why not?
Steve, go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, when he said that before, I was like, I should let that settle in for a second before I ask another question. I was going to ask, had you guys had those kind of drinks before, or was that a first for you?
First.
Yeah, most of it was a first. I've not really considered, non-alcoholic beverage kind of like offerings at things. Now I'm more open to it.
Yeah. I'm
going to give the reishi mushrooms another try when I haven't drank heavily to an extent. I'm curious if it'll upset me again. I gotta know. But
do it at your house, Mitch. Do it at your house.
I will.
Do a happy hour.
I will,
absolutely. Between the 4 of us. Let's see this unfold.
I don't need to replicate the disrobing at another establishment. You know what I mean? So that's a different personal. Podcast. But it was an experience. The other cool thing about their offerings with non-alcoholics is that they've got all sorts of flavors they can drop into all sorts of concoctions. So everything there was solid. I was surprised that why isn't this more of a focus elsewhere as well? Because it just made it so easy and seamless for people to enjoy, regardless of what your request is. So it's just, they really parted the sky, I guess, on non-alcoholic ABV.
Yeah.
And then when we made it to damp January, incredible. All those beers were awesome.
Finally.
Yes. We made it through the drought, and then we really got some flavors. But no, the previous had tons of flavors. It's just, they're two different worlds. One is just more of the cocktail, like bar life, and the other is the beer world. And man, it was incredible. I would go through that experience again. I would actually pay for that kind of experience if I was a patron. So, it's like you get the abilities of what you could order put into your mind. So,
yeah, and to have that many in one sitting too is amazing because you got to try a bunch in one sitting. So it's that you ran the gauntlet basically.
Yeah, that's a good word for the whole the flight, the gauntlet. Yes,
you totally ran the gauntlet.
Poor Mitch.
Indeed, it is a weight loss program.
Maybe not recommended.
It's like fuck Ozempic. We got mushroom drinks.
That's right.
Who needs what's that weight loss drug called? Ozempic? Who needs Ozempic? Yes. You can do that. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Hey guys, early on, it was more of a social media thing, but for Steve and I, because our names start with S, so people were like, "Hey, we don't know the difference between Steve and Scott." Like, really? Okay, because our names start with S, they couldn't figure it out.
Can't go on our website and look and read.
They couldn't. They couldn't read. They couldn't read about us.
Which one starts with the S letter?
Yes. So your names rhyme. And you both have
convenient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been, when I say mixed up, have you been mixed up with each other? Or people just maybe not know who's who?
I can speak to that one, Mitch.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yes. We have 100% been mixed up. And it's mostly when we're kind of at like right at the state where we all are now. Like we're 2 beers in, maybe 3, we're just kind of like enjoying, because that's typically when logic goes out the window.
Yeah.
And it's not like our names rhyme. I technically go by Richard, and Mitch goes by Mitchell, so that doesn't really rhyme. But when like you're talking about the Foamy Heads, it's Mitch and Rich, and so like that's a completely different persona. And that does rhyme. And even though it doesn't start with the same letter, it rhymes. And the more beers you drink, the more lines get blurred as you go. So there have been multiple times when we're recording a show and they'll look at me and they'll be like, "So Mitch, what are your thoughts on this?" Or they'll look at Mitch and they'll be like, "Rich, you were hanging out with Mitch the other day. What do you think about this?" Like it happens. And
it does.
Very similar to Scott and Steve. I got to be honest, like the only reason initially, like when you guys came up to us when we were hanging out on the floor of the Predators Arena at the beer festival, was like Scott was the first person that made it into my phone. And so, like, I remembered, I was like, okay, I talked with Scott the most. I have Scott's number first. That was initially how I remembered it.
Yeah.
And then Steve ended up coming in, and I was like, okay, Steve is not Scott. So that's how I'm going to remember Steve. And not that that's like no disrespect to Steve by any means. It's just that's how my brain remembered it. It was Scott was the first one in my phone. Yeah. But it took me the longest time, and it took me a couple of happy hours when we were doing like, Instagram live happy hours where Scott would always join first. And I was like, oh yeah, Scott joined first. Scott's in my phone first. That must be Scott. Like, it's just because you're having a few beers at that point, right? And it's like, and the only thing you can grasp is like what you remembered when it first happened. Yeah. So Mitch might have a different experience, but we've definitely gotten names have gotten mixed up before.
I actually have a pretty good one for Scott and I. When you guys have met Armando.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When Armando had met Scott before he met me, and then when he met me, we were talking, and he goes, "So you guys are brothers?" And I went, "What?" And he goes, "You guys are brothers?" I said, "Well, we're kind of like brothers." He goes, "No, you're brothers, right?" I said, "You mean like actual blood brothers?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Do we look alike?" Like, "Oh yeah."
You know what it is? It's like you know what it is? It's like when you're in elementary school or high school and you see your teacher out in the wild, and you're like, oh, I didn't know they had another life outside of the thing I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Like,
Teachers do
abruptly
more
learned
than
that one
teach.
night.
Yeah.
oh, the teacher goes to the grocery store? They do something other than just fucking live at the school?
Yeah. They don't just love English. They like doing more stuff.
Yeah. You guys just don't live in our little squares right here and just do podcasts 24/7?
No, you guys go to work. You guys have real jobs.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
jobs. Yeah.
And my own personal joke could have been, if I would have gotten you guys mixed up, I would have said, "That's the Foamy Heads. It's the two tall guys with the glasses," because that's how
Yeah.
I would look up to you that way, you know.
Basically.
I do know,
No.
and I remember this the last happy hour we did. I looked at Rich one time, and I know I called you Mitch, but I real quick I quickly corrected it. I don't know if you even caught it, but I knew I did it. But you didn't know but you also didn't know who I was looking at too when I said
Yeah,
No,
Just
yeah,
call them the Foamy Heads.
that was the alcohol though, I promise.
I'm really bad with names until I talk to you more in person and interact with you. I'm good with faces, but I won't know your name. I'll just be like, I remember him, you know, or whoever. I way more visual than whatever the sponge is that's supposed to like keep information.
Yeah.
But man, it wasn't till probably fate that I finally cemented the names, because it was just social media messing with me most of the time, I want to say. But it's like you got 3 S's and 1 T on profiles and descriptions. So that just messed with me.
I know. And then sometimes we'll put a post out and it's generic. Nobody signs it. You know what I mean? It's like, which fucking one did it?
That's a good point. That would help.
Yeah.
That would help. Yeah. That ingrained both names. Yeah.
We like to be a little mysterious.
But we don't see
Us
you guys'
too.
faces either. Like on your posts when you're going out and you're going on your reels, like it's and we're guilty of the same thing. It's the pictures of the flights, it's the pictures of the building, it's pictures of and you guys are good with putting your names out there. You'll be like, Scott here went out and did this, and this, and this. And then there's no picture of Scott.
Should we do bad portraitures at the end of the flights, like in the carousel of images?
100%.
Just be like,
yeah, get drunk Scott,
there we go.
Get drunk Steve in there with like a selfie at the end.
You still might not be able to tell us apart. This motherfucker's a hammer. We don't know those.
Yeah. To be fair, we're probably drunk too. So.
I think it's funny.
I might start that. I might put a real bad. I've got for a lot of friends. Whenever I'm somewhere, I'm not going to call it unique, but different for me. I'll take a selfie like most people, but instead I'm going to look a little blinded and blighted, and I'm just going to kind of like, hey, you know, it's always terrible. I take terrible photos on purpose.
I'll tell you what.
It's fun. It's fun.
With that being said, I'm looking at, and I meant to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up. Your website. I'm looking at the front page of your website.
Man, yeah. Gosh, I got to update it eventually.
No. Leave it just like it is. Because you're very distinguishable in this picture. And also, I love that you're pouring a Colt 45 in the picture. Don't ever change this picture, by the way.
It is really cool.
Do you want to show it?
Let's see.
Pull it up on the screen. Mitch is the best at describing this whole scenario. Steve West.
All right, let's see.
All right, I will.
Not trying to put you on the spot, Mitch, but you're the one that tells the story the best.
2 minutes max. I'll drop it.
Okay, let's see if we can do this. All right, let me see. I'm gonna do this right here.
Get the Pornhub off your screen first.
Yeah. Delete
make
recent
sure I'm
history.
On the right, yeah. Make sure I'm on the right window here, real quick.
Is it up?
There we go. It's coming through. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
It's a great fucking picture.
It is a great picture. Yeah.
Yeah. That is so Steve West, he's Atlanta based. He's got all sorts of stuff going on for him down there. If I had stayed longer at one of his photo, I'm trying to think of what they call them. It's not exhibitions or whatever, but he had a photo gallery with a bunch of art being sold, but Killer Mike showed up later to holler at him and stuff. But
I love the whole.
he does.
Is the foam in the glass? Like, is that
It
all
is.
like real?
That's the
It's
real
all
picture
very
of the
real.
pour.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Real
great.
time picture, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Steve West on this. He let us ruin his stage for a bit. We brought all kinds of beer. He said, just bring it, even with cigars. We're going to burn them. We're going to do it all in the studio. So we were able to go in. We had several sticks ready. We got several photos with cigars and beers being poured. But Rich and I were at first just being like, okay, here's a big foamy head, like an aggressive pour versus a slow pour, or a perfect head, kind of like, you're trying to get that perfect shot as the original intent. And Steve West, being the creative and knowing how shit works, he's got the experience. He goes, just keep pouring it. And we just dumped that Colt 45 in, and it just overflows, and both of us are just locked in on the scene.
That's
thanks to Steve.
That's what's brilliant about it. You're both focused on exactly what you're doing. Rich, you're focused on pouring it, and Mitch, you're holding that thing. You're not deterred by the thing running down your hand. You don't care.
Yeah. It was super cool, and then we drank that shit, and
How super
what was
cool
left.
is that?
It was definitely a combination of it was the beer pouring, and it was Steve West's like camera magic. That's all it was. We had multiple beers, we had multiple cigars. If you end up going to like the About Us section, you'll see like Mitch is sitting there holding up a beer. If you go to mine, you'll see like me, I'm holding a cigar and I've got my Arrogant Bastard hat on with the beer. But like, it was a good experience overall. The highlight of that is the artist's ability to highlight certain portions that wouldn't otherwise be highlighted.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, it was just Steve was like, Mitch, hold the glass, Rich, just keep pouring. That was all it was. And we had no idea what we were going to get out of it. And he's just like, we're pouring the beer and like it's coming up towards the top and the foamy head's like coming up, and Steve's like, just keep pouring. So I'm like, okay, so I'm pouring, and Steve's got his camera locked into all that. And at the end of the day, it was like that was the shot out of everything that we took. And he did everything on his iPad. Like he pulled up the pictures after he's done. He's like, let's do this. And he's moving things around. But what you're seeing there is not altered in any way. It's just aggressively pouring a Colt 45, which in and of itself is like, that's the fun part, right? Because it's two guys talking craft beer. But this picture is like dark, it's gritty, it's got like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm wearing a polo with an Arrogant Bastard hat, and Mitch is just like concentrated on the glass, and I'm just pouring the beer and I'm not stopping.
Well,
and like
it's
nothing
weird,
about
man.
the picture makes sense, but it all came together perfectly.
Yeah, it was cool.
Wearing a Three Floyds like
I've seen that
shirt, and you've got the Arrogant Bastard polo, slightly professional, cargo shorts. I've got jeans, like extremely low bar, but high quality. It's a
It's a mixed
weird,
bag.
it's perfect the way it is.
The other thing is
beer.
The beer is still coming out of the bottle into the glass. It's fucking brilliant.
It's
brilliant, man.
Don't ever lose that picture.
What is that word? Sorry. But I'm thinking, but it's a juxtaposition onto all of the things that is craft. Because it's Colt 45 in proper glassware. We're wearing mixed gear. It's just it's awesome. It's great.
It doesn't make sense, but it does all at the same time. You like that. I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it was
no matter what
great.
Yeah. Just keep that picture somewhere. No matter what you guys do, just keep that picture somewhere.
Well, and it talks about it because like I'm an IT professional, so not often I'm on camera sometimes, but not really all the time. But I'm a craft beer guy, but like I'm supposed to look semi-professional at certain points of the time. So like for me, typically like it's polo, like oversized polos and khaki shorts. Like that's what I always wear. And Mitch is on like the medical marketing device side, and his professional. So like, he's dealing with IT people on the back end and marketing people, but he's expected to kind of be like in front of everybody at the same time too. So when you get this picture of like two guys that are semi dressed up but not at the same time, but we're pouring what's like the everyman's. Yeah, and it's just like, are we professional or are we not? Well, we don't know because like we're wearing professional clothes, but we're pouring a Colt 45 into a glass. So that's literally the definition of irony, is like we're talking about craft beer, but we're pouring Colt 45s into a glass. And then at the end, we just smoke weed when we're all done. It's just, it's a good time.
Honestly, that would make a nice little portrait or something to put. Like, it's a really nice picture. You know, you can put that up somewhere. That is fucking brilliant. I love it. I love it.
It's such a good time, and it's that picture. I don't know how to explain its importance, but it's one I want to update every 10 years, regardless of podcast or not. And it's one of those things where it's now, oh my God, we're going to do that again. We're going to just keep this updating.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
It's phenomenal. I can't wait to get back to Atlanta. There's such good people down there, but I digress. I'm feeling everything now. It's good. It's a good time.
You're feeling all the things. Yeah, we got drinks scattered about. So hey, let me ask you about you guys. Like, where do your ideas for the podcast kind of come from? How do you collaborate? You guys have done 90. Hang on, you've done. Fuck, I got the number. 90,
We're
91
finally
episodes,
closing in on that. Yeah,
91 episodes. Yeah. Where's your inspiration come from? Where the ideas come from? How do you guys collaborate? Just kind of speak on that.
So it's never been. I want Mitch to elaborate on this, but it hasn't always been what it's been. Like, if you go back and look at the first few episodes, it's what every podcast starts out to be. It's two guys sitting in front of a microphone. We talked about this at the beginning. We're just it's shitty recording where two guys are in front of a generic microphone, whether or not, there's no video, but we're talking about, the beer that we're drinking. And keep in mind, this was before, this was all before COVID. This was before people started having podcasts, and, it was before people were pushed indoors and forced to do something with their free time. So, we were sitting there talking. It sounds cliche to say that two guys sit down, decided to start recording about something before it got popular, but that's kind of what we were doing. And the original intent was just, hey, Mitch, you like beer, I like beer. Let's see if somebody else likes our opinion. And that's what we started out as. And then shortly after that, the world shut down. And all of a sudden, Mitch and I could see each other whenever we wanted, but we're rational human beings. And we were like, well, it's probably for the best that we don't like congregate around other people. And if one of us gets sick or whatever, because this was COVID times and there was a lot of uncertainty, right? And at that point, it was like Mitch had really good connections with Living Waters, with Ryan, shout out to Ryan, and with Byron at Proper Sake. And there were these breweries that were shut down and like couldn't move product. And I remember one of the first things that we did was with the Nashville Craft Beer Social Club, shout out to Nathan, and Mitch runs the Chattanooga Craft Beer Social Club. But like, one of the things he was trying to do was like, okay, these breweries have all this beer and they can't get rid of it. What do we do? So let's do beer sharings. Let's get on recordings. Let's get breweries together to donate, and people put money in, and and that's how they do it. And we had this idea one day. It was like, what if we talked with breweries and get what they had in their head out onto the internet? Because that wasn't really being done yet. There were podcasts everywhere, people talking about stuff and talking about their beers and their experiences, but like no one really thought about what was going inside the brewers' heads and getting that out into the space. So that's where Ryan came in. We're like, well, let's just get Ryan in one day from Living Waters. And he was our first live guest. And after that 2-hour episode, we had the most fun we'd ever had in our lives. And I remember talking to Mitch, and I was like, this could be like the pivot. This could be the avenue that we decided to go. And then we moved on to proper sake with Byron. Byron was like, hell yeah, let's sit down and talk. So we're drinking sake in this environment where everybody's locked down and we're in our house. But for whatever reason, Scott, like we're all on the screen and we're talking and we're sharing. So now we're getting what's in their heads out onto the internet. And those guys were just like, and you've experienced this the same too, Steve. Like if you guys are reaching out to people, these guys want to talk. Like they want to. They're like, yeah, absolutely, come in. Let's hook you guys up with flights. Let's talk. Let's share a beer. And it's almost like people haven't done that before. Like, why are people sleeping on what's in the heads of these owners in these breweries? And so that's kind of where the idea came from, is just accidentally sitting down with a brewer one day and an owner and talking about it and having a blast. And then just moving on. And then it went from Living Waters to Proper Sake and then Crazy Gnome. And then, from there, Mitch's idea is like, why do we have to talk to just owners and head brewers? Why don't we talk to other people? So, I mean, like at the time, Bearded Brother came in, like he was working at Bearded Iris. He was doing a canning line. So like, and that's kind of where like the whole anything that accompanies a glass kind of comes into play. Because it's not just about the people that run the brewery, it's about everybody from start to finish and how they can contribute to that beer industry. And it just kind of fell into place.
The whole beer community. I mean, there's so many angles with it. And, you guys know, because you've been doing it for 6 years. We've been doing it, a year and a half. And I guess we were talking to some guys last night that they're doing a podcast. I love, even though we're talking to brewery owners and you said talk to Kramer and people like that, I love just talking like you guys. You're drinking beer and other people that are just drinking beer as well, because everybody has such a different perspective on things. I think it's I think it's very interesting.
I love hearing outside of my perspective, and it opens up new doors for me typically.
100%. Yep.
I love learning. And I can't get enough of it day to day. Right now I'm working from home, so there's no learning about people. There's no learning about my coworkers. Really, there's no cooler talk. So there's only clients that I talk to, and then I learn about other regional things, but nothing here. So it's just like, it's really nice being able to talk from multiple perspectives, and it's not always just that owner or head brewer view. If you get all the other
we lost Mitch. There he is.
Dang, I'm gonna have to figure that out. That's interesting. Sorry about that.
But we've done it. You go down a rabbit hole, right? It's a good thing. Oh, someone said something on a podcast. Let me pursue that. And now it's a whole nother angle. We just talked to the Appalachian State fermentation science program. It's like it's a whole nother
awesome.
It's fucking awesome, dude. It's like
but
for us, it's like I didn't even know that existed until we started. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's another path, and here's another path, and then you just keep going down this path, and you got so many. It's wonderful.
I didn't realize there was an aquifer in Tennessee until Memphis came into picture with Wiseacre, and Michelle Edge talked to us when she was a rep for Wiseacre and saying they got an aquifer. That's why the water's so fucking great. It's just crazy. But
hey, I am curious.
You
going
learn
back to
so much.
Yeah,